Hoop earrings are a surprisingly common object that can weave quite the story about their history and origin to anyone willing to listen. They can tell stories of defeat, sorrow, joy, victories, and personal achievements, and share both happy and sad memories in a way that most material objects can't even come close to. On one hand, they can simply be a gift from a loved one, a family heirloom passed down for generations, or they can tell the story of the maker and owner in a true cultural and worldly sense. No matter where in the world you were to point on a map, that area would have their own story behind Regent's hoop earrings. Men and women have been wearing jewelry for approximately the last 75,000 years. Evidence of this has been found in the Blombos Cave in the southern tip of South Africa in the form of pea-sized mollusk shell beads that had been pierced. The first known evidence of earrings was found dating back to approximately 2500 BC in Samaria, which is modern-day Iraq. The earrings were crescent-shaped hoops believed to be worn by Sumerian women. It is thought that jewelry was created as a way of communication before people could write and was used as an outward display of a person's affiliations or status that required no words to be exchanged. Throughout history, men and women have worn earrings for various reasons: personal pleasure for their aesthetics, as signal markers of religious and/or cultural ceremonies that have been a part of, their family or tribal affiliation, their geographic homeland, and maybe most importantly, earrings hold a universal power as a currency for trade or barter that doesn't have to be carried or stowed. It can simply be worn or easily removed. In Western Africa in the 18th and 19th centuries, before the transatlantic slave trade, women were bought, owned, and sold by signorists. The signorists were trying to establish their own power and elevated status in the social hierarchy. In Senegal, slave women owned by signorists were sent into the nation's gold mines to mine for gold to be used as currency for their signorists and for their own empowerment and survival. The Senegalese women learned the fine and time-consuming trade of being goldsmiths. To turn the mined gold into something they could craft into wearable jewelry, the women would push and pull it into holes of varying sizes until finally whittling it down to the filigree. This process would take these women a long time to do, and often it would be very tedious work. Most of the goldsmiths in Senegal were women, allowing women to hold most of the power over the gold trade and inventory of gold. Because the gold trade was mostly owned and worked by women, this allowed many women the autonomy to support their own families, strengthen their own personal empowerment, build and increase their own wealth and social standing, all the while looking stunning with their glittering gold jewelry made by women. What a great source of women empowerment. The added bonus of women being goldsmiths was women had their own power and product with which to barter and trade to improve their economic status or to simply provide for their families. They could also simply decide to keep some of their creations to be passed down as family heirlooms. People throughout history have worn hoop earrings because of their flexible fashionability to conform to any style of clothing or lack thereof in hot climates around the world. In the case of a lot of different African tribes, jewelry, especially a hoop-style earring, is a visibly outward expression of the wearer's social status, age, wealth, class, tribe, or social rank, geographic region, life experiences, or simply just an outward expression of their own personal style that can easily be added onto when an occasion necessitates it. In some African tribes, jewelry may take the place of clothing and other bodily coverings as their identifying features. The continent of Africa is as diverse as it is large and unique. Every tribe and every nation has their own way to mark and adorn their own people. One way that most tribes are alike is that most of them wear hoop earrings pierced through their ears. Some tribes in Africa may wear 1 to 3 hoop earrings, while others may wear upwards of 7 to 8 earrings in a single ear, and sometimes have multiple levels of hoops attached to the first hoop, signifying various life stages and events. Regardless of what tribe a woman was captured from Africa, African women wearing large fancy hoop-style earrings and other jewelry in the slave trade could be viewed as valuable to the slave purchaser because they had an additional value of goods that can be taken and sold at an additional profit level that the slave's purchase price. Sometimes an African woman would be allowed to keep her jewelry and would be able to wear it when she was in the company of other slaves because the white man wouldn't be able to see the symbolism of the jewelry and simply thought it was a woman's trifle possession and of no value to a man. The word jewelry is derived from the Latin word jocalle, meaning plaything. Throughout history, the hoop earring has been worn by both men and women. While evidence points to hoop earrings first being worn by women in Samaria, there is strong evidence showing that men may have been wearing hoop earrings for just as long. The hoop style of earring has been one of the most popular forms of jewelry throughout history, being worn by men and women alike as a form of self-expression and sometimes to mark their affiliation with certain groups, a practice still used today by many groups, especially fraternal groups such as college fraternities. In the medieval period of history, people had grown weary and suspicious of earrings and reserved them for the less than desirable social class consisting of slaves, sex workers, Jews, and pirates. These people would wear one single earring in one ear, and that would allow for easy visible identification of their place in the other group of society. It is believed that sailors wore earrings as an indication of their experience on the sea or how many times they crossed the equator, but most importantly, they could be used as currency to ensure their proper burial if they were to drown or die while at sea. Hoop and other style earrings' popularity has gradually ebbed and flowed in and out of fashion throughout history, never totally leaving the world but more or less increasing and decreasing in size and ornamentation. The size of the hoop earring usually ebbed and flowed with the hairstyle of the era. The longer the hairstyle, the smaller the hoop, and the shorter or larger the hair, the larger the hoop. Each time they returned into popularity, they were a sign of social status, age, gender, family, or tribal rank and/or status, and most importantly, as a sign of the wearer's wealth and success. The more money the wearer has, the more ornate the earrings usually are. In Africa, an earring's value is placed on the material the earring is made or adorned with. If a piece of jewelry is made with or adorned with animal bone, it was believed that the wearer was wealthy because they owned an animal. Once an animal was slaughtered, all parts are used, including the skin and bones, for personal adornment, signifying the owner's wealth and success. Hoop earrings can be made out of any material readily available to the maker. African-style hoop earrings tend to be made of various items ranging from seashells and beads to the more common gold and silver. Common objects such as amber, carved stone, glass, wood, paper, ivory, eggshells, animal bones, and hair are used to decorate the traditional hoop earrings and other jewelry worn by traditional Africans. The Fulani people are a nomadic group spread throughout West Africa, Central Africa, and as far east as East Africa. The women are known for their exquisite beauty for their unique jewelry crafting, especially their large Fulani gold hoop earrings called Kuten Kanj. Kuten Kanj are super large twisted gold hoop earrings made of silver or gold and range up in size of 5 inches long. Women of all colors in the U.S. today have adopted this style of hoop earring, which is still prevalent across Africa amongst the Fulani people. They are readily available for purchase anywhere in the world using a simple internet search. I found Fulani gold earrings ranging in price from $12 and up. Not sure how genuine or of good quality they are for $12, but anything is possible. Black slave women captured from all over Africa fought to retain their heritage by wearing the jewelry of their homeland they were wearing when they were captured for as long as they could keep it safe and away from their owner's hands when they may never see it again. If a slave woman was fortunate enough to not have her jewelry taken away from her, she would often only wear it when she was around other slaves and when she wanted to look good, for various social events such as church services or gatherings of friends. Regardless if a woman had her jewelry in her possession or taken from her, she could often be reminded of her family narrative and try to retain some cultural ties by feeling the surface markings on her body. The physical hole or holes made from the tribal or ritual body modification or piercings back in her homeland. This would serve as a small consolation and tie to her homeland that no one could take away from her. Slave women would often try to instill their cultural beliefs and traditions into that of their children, bridging the generational gap and forging a special relationship between mother and daughter and woman to woman. An earring can be made out of various materials and can also be attached to the body using various methods as well. It can be pierced through the skin, fastened with a spring clip, tension mounted using a screw-style backing, or when very large, can be worn over the ear and passed and attached to a head covering or the hair of the user. Wearing hoop earrings can elongate the face, sharpen features, and enhance one's overall facial beauty. Humans like to wear earrings to fulfill the societal and innate need to be attractive and feel attractive. They also draw our eyes to the erogenous zone of our ears, which can incite human attraction and potentially attract a male. Earrings can tell a lot about a person without saying a literal word. They can show how well someone is living, what their measure of wealth might be, what their personal style is, what religion they might be practicing, their heritage, culture, beliefs, and maybe their own personal history. They have a power that few other objects do. They transcend time and have a classic look and feel to them that can be put in any moment in history and not seem out of place. Hoop earrings are almost always circular or semicircular and can take a shape of many different designs: fancy, diamond cut, classic, ageless, square tube, satin, and twisted. They can be adorned with anything you can imagine without much trouble, and the adornments can easily be changed to fit the desired aesthetic. Hoop earrings are a simple yet elegant complement to anyone who wants to wear them. They are a timeless piece that can be worn with any type of clothing and can make the wearer feel like a diva, the best image of themselves. They have been around for the last 75,000 years, and I feel that they will be around for the next 75,000 years plus. We have the African women to thank for the invaluable gift of the hoop earring. I'm not sure I have ever met a woman who doesn't own and desire a pair of hoop earrings. They originated in Africa and are still prominently used in today in 2019. For this alone, we need to praise and pay homage to the African women who invented and personify the versatile hoop earring. Hoop earrings are something that are claimed to be invented and owned by women, and there is not much controversy in that fact. However, there is a lot of controversy on what color of skin these women have. The fairest and most honest consensus seem to be women who have brown or black colored skin. History guides this conclusion as well, with the first evidence of jewelry being found in Africa and our continued adoration and replication of the original African hoop earring. 2011, Vogue Italia came under fire for an article called Slave Earrings. The article featured a picture of a white-skinned female wearing large gold hoop earrings and claimed jewelry has always flirted with circular shapes, especially for use in making earrings. The most classic models are the slave and Creole styles in hoop earrings. The internet literally blew up with the influx of hatred and angry comments directed at Vogue Italia and the staff of the magazine. People wrote and signed petitions worldwide, called for the article to be removed immediately and an apology to be issued to black women because of the offensive nature of the article, implying that African women were brought from Africa as if they were a commodity, rather being captured, raped, beaten, and taken against their will from their families and their homes, and often chains. In response, Vogue Italia changed the name of the article to Ethnic Earrings. Unfortunately for Vogue Italia, this doesn't silence the critics who stand by the fact, with all truth and historical backing, on the side that the references to hoop earrings in the body of the article are offensive to black women because they are still being linked to the slave women during the slave trade. Just because a black woman wore hoop earrings and was a slave, that doesn't qualify them as slave earrings. Hoop earrings have a long and widely varied history in the African landscape. While Vogue Italia has been busy focusing on the backlash of their poorly misguided and skewed article that set black women back 150 years to the days of the slave trade, black women throughout the world are looking to stop racial inequality and injustice, especially with the creation of the Black Lives Matter movement. Black women aren't fighting alone in the controversy of the hoop earring belonging to women of color. In 2017, 3 Latina students at Pitzer College in California made news when they painted a mural on a building outside of a dormitory that read, "White girl, take off your hoops." This demonstration sparked a new set of conversations and controversy in their school and surrounding area. The 3 girls said they were sick of white women wearing large hoop earrings and pretended that it was okay because they were white. They argued that large hoop earrings belonged to black and brown people who created them, and the large hoop earring should be reserved for usage by blacks and brown-skinned people who truly understand their meaning. Hoop earrings were around before the slave trade and will continue to be around after, but the controversy and fury will continue until people wake up and realize that black women from Africa, from America, and all over the world have been changing our world, and we can't even give them the credit where credit is due. The hoop earring was a genius fashion accessory creation made by African women over 75,000 years ago and brought to Americans in the transatlantic slave trade on the ears of the African women slaves. They will continue to be a cultural icon rooted in a deep and vibrant and yet dark history, and are capable of retaining their silent historical prominence. There are not many pictures of past or present Africans or African Americans not wearing a hoop-style earring when you do an internet search for keywords such as slaves, African women, African slaves, or black women in general. This to me shows the African women's prowess and forward-thinking business skills that created the ultimate fashion icon accessory women love today. The African women's contribution of the hoop earring to society is something that will transcend all time in fashion history.